What could possibly leave someone utterly speechless in front of millions? When netizens captured Hyun on video, the moment sent shockwaves across social media, and the truth that followed was nothing anyone expected. Stay with Red Carpet revealed as we uncover the full story right now. It began on an ordinary Tuesday night, at least. What everyone thought. The streets of Seoul were alive with the usual mix of neon lights, laughter spilling from late-night cafes, and the distant hum of taxis cruising down wide boulevards. No one could have predicted that somewhere in the quiet elegance of an upscale restaurant in Gangnam, a moment was unfolding that would set the internet ablaze. Ripples appeared when an anonymous account posted a 30-second clip on Instagram with this simple caption, "You won't believe this." The thumbnail was blurry, but the silhouette was unmistakable to anyone who'd ever watched a K-drama or seen a red carpet photograph. Hyun, tall, poised, and impossibly charismatic even in the grainy resolution of a phone camera, was seated at a corner table, leaning forward as if sharing something deeply personal with someone just out of frame. The lighting was soft, the kind of golden glow that could make even the most casual moment feel cinematic. But what drew immediate attention wasn't just Hyun's presence, it was what happened in the next few seconds. The camera's focus shifted ever so slightly, catching a glimpse of his expression. It wasn't the controlled, charming smile fans were used to seeing at public events. This was something raw, almost fragile. His eyes seemed to glisten. Voice, though muffled by distance, carried a weight that could be felt even through the screen. Then, just at the edge of the frame, a figure leaned into view. The moment lasted no more than 2 heartbeats, but to netizens, it was enough to send theories spiraling out of control. Within minutes, the clip spread across social media like wildfire. Twitter exploded with hashtags, Hyun video, what did she see? And most intriguingly, speechless reaction. Fans clipped, slowed down, and enhanced the footage, speculating about a mysterious figure and the nature of the conversation. Was it a reunion? A confrontation? Or something far more intimate? Theories ranged from plausible to absurd. But one detail kept resurfacing. Those who knew Hyun best claimed they had never seen that particular expression on his face. When the video inevitably found its way to son Ye-jin, she was in the middle of reviewing scripts at her home office. She had been sipping tea, the soft rustle of paper and the occasional chirp from her phone her only company. The moment she opened the message from a close friend, no text, just a link, the peaceful quiet of her evening shattered. Video played automatically. For the first few seconds, her brows knit in confusion, lifted slightly in recognition. By the 10-second mark, her hand froze mid-air, the delicate porcelain teacup hovering dangerously close to spilling. At 20 seconds, she stopped breathing altogether. By the time it ended, the only sound in the room was the faint clink of her cup being set down and the slow, steady exhale she didn't realize she'd been holding. She didn't speak. Not to her friend, not to herself. Buzzed with more incoming messages, each one undoubtedly linking to the same clip. But she ignored them all. To the outside world, silence would seem calculated, a refusal to feed the frenzy. But inside, Son Ye-jin's thoughts were anything but composed. Images replayed in her mind with relentless clarity, frame pulling her deeper into memory she had long kept tucked away. It wasn't just what Hyun had said in that moment, though she could almost hear the cadence of his voice. It was the unmistakable way his gaze softened. The same way it had in a conversation years ago when everything between them was new and unspoken. Meanwhile, the internet was in overdrive. Entertainment news outlets scrambled to verify the authenticity of the video. Some claimed to have sources inside the restaurant. Others said it was part of a scene for an upcoming project. Hyun's management stayed silent, neither confirming nor denying, which only fueled more speculation. Fans dissected every millisecond, pointing out the subtle movement of his hand on the table, the way he leaned forward just before the figure appeared, and the faintest trace of a smile that seemed to flicker and vanish in the same instant. But the true catalyst for the frenzy came not from the clip itself, but from a second video posted just hours later by another diner in the same restaurant. This one was longer, captured from a different angle, and though still not perfectly clear, it showed just enough to confirm what many had been whispering. The person across from Hyun bore a striking resemblance to someone very familiar. In living rooms, cafes, subway cars across the country, people pressed their faces to their screens, pausing and zooming in. played tricks. But the outline of the jaw? The way the hair framed the face, it was enough to ignite 1,000 think pieces. Could it be Sun Ye-jin? Became the question on everyone's lips. Back in her home, Sun Ye-jin closed her laptop, turned off her phone, and walked to the large window overlooking the city. The glow of Seoul stretched endlessly before her. But her mind was somewhere else entirely, back in that restaurant, in that moment. Hearing the truth that had left her without words. The outside moved on, unaware that somewhere high above its streets, a woman stood still, her heartbeat carrying the weight of a secret she wasn't yet ready to share. And somewhere in this whirling chaos of online speculation, one question remained unanswered: what exactly had Hyun been said that night, and why did it leave Sun Ye-jin utterly speechless? The truth was out there, just beyond the reach of the cameras, waiting for the right moment to surface. In the weeks after the storm died down, life in Seoul seemed to return to its usual rhythm. Days filled with a low hum of conversation. Street markets bustled with color and noise. And the headlines that once screamed about Hyun Bin's mystery night faded into the archives of internet memory. But for Hyun Bin and Sun Ye-jin, it felt different. It was a calm that came after a tide. A stillness earned, not given. Spent more time at home, away from the glare. Morning routines became sacred. Alkwang's laughter echoing through the living room was the first sound of the day. The aroma of coffee mingling with the faint notes of a lullaby Hyun Bin had learned to play on the piano. Sun Ye-jin often caught herself just watching them together. Hyun Bin crouched on the floor, building towers out of wooden blocks, his deep voice narrating an imaginary kingdom while Alkwang listened wide-eyed. It was these small, unremarkable moments that felt like treasures, far more valuable than any award or box office record. The industry, of course, kept calling. Scripts arrived in neat stacks. Directors reached out, and offers came from both Korea and abroad. Yet every decision now passed through a quieter filter. Not will this boost my career, but will this take me away from what matters? They turned down far more than they accepted. And while some industry insiders whispered about lost opportunities, Hyun Bin and Sun Ye-jin knew they were choosing something rare. It wasn't that they had abandoned the public eye entirely. It did appear. It was deliberate, a charity gala supporting children's hospitals. Surprise visit to film school where they shared stories with young aspiring actors. At one such event, a student nervously asked, "Most important role you've ever played?" Hyun Bin didn't hesitate. "Father," he said simply. Glancing at Sun Ye-jin, who smiled knowingly. That honesty, the same honesty that had left her speechless in the restaurant, became their quiet anthem. The video that had once threatened to unravel their privacy now served as a strange kind of gift. It reminded them, and everyone watching, that real connection exists beyond the glossy frames of celebrity life. One evening, as the city glittered under a canopy of winter stars, Hyun Bin and Sun Ye-jin took Alkwang for a walk along the Han River. The air was cold enough to turn their breaths into visible clouds. The river mirrored the lights of passing boats. They stopped at a bench, the same one where they had sat years earlier before any of this began. Back then, the future had been uncertain. Their paths not yet intertwined in the way they are now. Tonight, it felt as though they had come full circle. Ye-jin pulled her scarf tighter and looked at him. "No," she said softly. "I never answered you that night in the restaurant." Bin tilted his head. "Answer me now," he replied with a faint smile. She reached for his hand, grip warm against a chill. "Yes," she said. "Always yes." For a moment, they just sat there, watching the river flow. A bundle between them. The noise of the world kept at bay. Somewhere in the city, someone might still be talking about that infamous video. Here, in this small, unguarded slice of life, the truth was theirs alone. As we leave their story here for now, one thing is certain: the video might have captured a moment, but love like theirs can't be contained in a clip. It lives in the spaces between the headlines, in the laughter of a child, and in the promises whispered where no camera can reach. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired. Remember, sometimes, the most unforgettable truths are the ones that unfold quietly.